Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now November 25th of 2023, and given that the Marvels is still dealing with its own box office failure, day after day, it's only getting worse for everyone over at Disney and Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, Nia DaCosta, Bob Iger, Brie Larson, and the rest of the cast, and those that created this film, are really in for quite a roller coaster of a ride with this movie as we go throughout the rest of its course at the box office and at theaters. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, the thing about the Marvels, and I've talked about this before, it's not just the fact that there are some levels of DEI thrown into this film, but the main reason why this film is so universally rejected is because it's an aimless story. The writing is terrible, the directing is god-awful, and the editing, I must add, if you guys have seen the film, to just get an idea of what this was really all about and where everything was going, even the editing was very off. I mean, this movie feels like it should have belonged on Disney Plus as a series, divided up into maybe 3 parts, and then they call it a day. That's what it really should have been. It should have not been a movie in theaters. That's why this film is not working at all in the least. Now, we all know that Brie Larson has been heavily defending this movie day in and day out, as well as Nia DaCosta, who, by the way, we talked about this. She has been let go from her 10-project deal. She was fired from all of that. That ranged from directing a couple of episodes for multiple upcoming MCU TV shows for Disney Plus and 2 theatrical movies. Alright? Now, we know that Nia DaCosta, at the same exact time, has been pointing the finger at fans, but so has Brie Larson. Now, with the Marvels, of course, currently causing Disney much trouble behind the scenes, especially for Bob Iger, one major development has to do with Brie Larson and her stance against the financial status of the Marvels along with the fan criticism. Now, Brie went on to deliver the following. Getting the opportunity to work with Nia and her directing style has been the gift of a lifetime. She really knows what she was doing with this film. The problems that we face that so many others have in recent years are toxic fandoms that are not only entitled but make it difficult for the creators to focus on their own work. I think it's become quite clear to me that there will be always a group of toxic males that believe films always have to be about male action stars with all the muscle, and it just gets flat out old after a while. I am seeing a rise in roles for women, and I think it was long overdue. I love what Kevin is doing with the upcoming slate of projects from Marvel, and I 100% support what they are doing at Lucasfilm with their material for Star Wars. It's time that we needed change, and I'm proud of the role I was given. I wanted to go into this knowing that we would be facing the same old minority of fans, similar to what Kevin dealt with in the past as well, as other directors and writers have also. I know it was a bit hard for Nia. She just tries to roll with the punches, and that's why I look up to her. She is so strong spiritually that it really guided me in this role and for this film. As for many future, of course, roles as Captain Marvel, I don't know. I really can't say. I mean, there is something there for her, but I don't really want to go into that, of what's going on with that. It's good and healthy for a studio to be relentless in their content that they want to create and put out, because eventually it will become something expected and something that ranges within normality. Now, guys, let me just say one thing about Brie Larson's take on how it's good for studios to be, quote-unquote, relentless with the content that they want to put out there. Now, what that sounds like to me is that she supports these studios that are trying to, what she said as, normalize terrible content that people will eventually just accept. And I think at the end of the day, this is exactly why Disney is indeed relentless. They only care about their agenda. They may very well, yes, be very annoyed over the fact and frustrated over the fact that their films and projects are losing them money, but they will do this at all costs. They don't care if they're going to lose money. They want to just keep spewing out this agenda, and they want to get it out to the world. Simply put, that's all they want to do. So, that's exactly why everything is failing over at Disney. As long as you embrace everything related to DEI and ESG, all this nonsense that's hypocritical and flawed, and really it's not coming from the heart at all. In fact, this is all just purely an agenda, and I brought up a very good point yesterday. The number one reason why DEI is so flawed, and how we have living proof of that, is Snow White, the actual live-action remake, does not have real dwarfs as the 7 dwarves, and they use CGI dwarfs instead. Because Bob Iger and the rest of the board over at Disney did not want to hire dwarfs for Snow White. And that is another reason to point the finger at DEI and just point at it and say how hypocritical it really is. It is contradictory in nature, and I keep saying that. So Brie Larson really kind of opening her mouth and really just kind of giving us a point here that Disney is indeed doing what we thought all along. Being very relentless, not caring about losing money, and just doing this to spew out their agenda, and they're not going to stop. So, moving onwards, she goes on to conclude, and it's not good for business for anyone. She's talking about the toxic fandom. This has been a long time coming, and The Marvels is a grand example of how we can do this. There are many claims about this film from the loud minority that are just flat out wrong, such as its performance at the box office and how it's being received. From what I have noticed, many moviegoers completely enjoyed this film, and it's a wonderful addition to the Marvel Universe, and I'm proud to be a part of this epic journey. Now, can I be very realistic with you guys? Sure, there are going to be some people that like this movie. And there are some people that, like this movie, that's a fact. But are there really that many that enjoy this movie? I wouldn't really go to say that it's the majority, absolutely not. The majority of Marvel fans either saw this film and did not like it, or just refused to actually go to this thing and saw it for what it was. Through the commercials, or through word of mouth, or through what Nia DaCosta and Brie Larson have been saying, very much like this, and coming across as very much self-absorbed and narcissistic in their role within the production of this film. So we know that The Marvels, standing on its own, is one of the worst Disney products of all time. I think for 2023, obviously, it is the worst of all. Definitely worse than Indiana Jones 5. And it really kind of just sticks out like a sore thumb, because like I said before, this movie should have really been a Disney Plus series divided up into maybe 3 episodes over the course of maybe 4 weeks, and that's it. That's what it should have been all along, and it really comes across as something that you would see on the CW, or something around those lines. It's very overly funded to the point where it doesn't look like it has the proper funds going into this movie. There are moments in this film where it looks like it's cheaply made, and it makes you wonder, how did hundreds of millions of dollars go into this thing, and at the same exact time, some of the CGI looks atrocious, some of the green screen elements are very much obvious, if you guys have paid attention. So overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.